Ladies and gentlemen, filmmakers and moviegoers alike, welcome to Critically Casual. I'm your host, Srekcuf5. Joining me as always is the amazing Dorkydev. What's up, Dev?
Dorkydev?
The Dorkydev. The amazing
You good?
Dorkydev. Apparently not. I couldn't decide if I wanted to commit to Twitter handles or just names. So, yeah. Well, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's Dev. I'm Steven. This is Critically Casual. What's
Thanks
up?
for coming out. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks. That's the end of the show. See you later. All right.
Bye.
Bye. So, anything you want to talk about before we start talking about today's show or movies?
Eh?
Meh.
Eh?
Meh. All right. We'll just.
Eh.
Guess we'll just get in there. Let's start talking about today's movies, which this week, because I'm so amazingly clever and smart, I've called it a ball of timey-wimey stuff. Because couldn't resist a reference. I had shortened it down a bit and cut out a couple of the best parts of the line, but whatever. We're talking about Interstellar. We're talking about Tenet. We're watching Christopher Nolan movies because, HBO released Tenet. HBO Max released Tenet. So we were like, I was like, why not? And here we are. So yeah.
That is exactly how that went.
Aren't I good at recounting things? I have the best memory and never forget anything ever.
Totally wasn't also me being like, hey, so this is on HBO that week.
Yeah. Not at all. It was all me. Totally my plan.
Uh-huh.
That was plan A the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So, let's just get in there. You ready to talk about Interstellar?
Sure.
Sure. Seem a little
I'm just getting all my
all your tweets in a
others-
row.
No, I got all the tweets in the row. I just need to get the other things open on the side, so I'm good.
Okay. So, we're starting off by talking about Interstellar. This movie, made in 2014, is by far
No way to ruin the make my part redundant.
What did you want to say, Dev?
Well, it's released November 17th, 2014. Now it feels redundant now. Thank you.
I didn't say anything else but that.
Yeah, but you give the year, which is just a big part of it. It's like a big chunk of it.
That's literally the only important part.
So part of that, if we make a list, that's the part we go off of on the list.
Mm-hmm. But you have more info there that you give us?
Shut up. Budget of $165 million estimated dollars. Opening weekend U.S. $54 million. Gross U.S. 188, and worldwide cumulative gross of $701 million.
Would you say it made money?
Sure.
Okay. This is weird. We have a weird energy in this.
You started it out weird.
Who said I started it weird?
You said that you fucking year. You've never done that before.
Some curveballs, making sure you're paying attention.
No, shut up, paying attention. It's the one thing I'm supposed to do at the start of a movie.
Well, let's move on. We can try it again in the next pass.
Oh, fuck off. God, I'm already done with you today. It's not even funny.
I'm sorry, but
God,
this
we're
is fun.
7 minutes into the fucking show.
This is yes, we are. So let's talk about Interstellar here. This movie was, they changed IMDb. Sorry, everything looks different. No problem. This movie I have seen before, of course. It is by far one of my favorite Christopher Nolan movies. Honestly, I go back to this movie just because it's the one movie that I can watch that just makes me feel nauseous, and for like the best reasons, because of stress and dread and anxiety, and like it's trying to make you experience these emotions, and I definitely felt them for sure. So I like this movie.
By the way, what is wrong with your mouth today? You were just slurring a few words here and there.
I don't know.
It's like we're only 8 minutes in. Usually, I'll give like 3 slurs like of words like half hour in.
I have no excuse.
I don't know what's going on today. There's just a weird. You're not kidding about the weird energy today.
Still, stop.
Is Gordon wearing a beanie and not a jacket? Is that it? Because usually I have a jacket with it.
No, I mean, I think it's weird that you're wearing a beanie anyways, because it's hot.
I didn't want to do my hair after the shower. Okay, well, actually, that isn't awful.
I mean, anything's better than you with the crown and your hair how it was yesterday.
Oh, piss off!
Whew. That was. I'm just kidding.
Okay, go fuck yourself. That's
I know.
why I don't try new things. You fucking bitches out there.
I'm the best of friends, aren't I?
Fuck you.
All right. So how much longer until the show's over, Dev?
Now I can leave. Good luck.
I mean, time is relative. It could be done now.
Yeah, I'm giving this a 9 and the next one a 10. All right, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Internals had a movie trailer. Bye.
That is pretty much the whole show, other than my review. Oh, yep, Dev's gone. Da 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 da. Bye. And he's back. You watching the stream for that?
What?
Did you watch the stream for that? Or I just had to lean over and be like, what's up? Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. So yeah. I lost my train of thought.
Good. Interstellar.
Something about it being a good movie. Not that much. Do you have any opinions, Dev?
Yeah, this is my first time watching it.
Really?
So I watched last night on the TV in my bedroom. Standard definition because fuck it. I don't care. It's cheaper.
As long as you didn't watch it on your cell phone, I don't care.
You can watch these movies on your cell phone. Fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Nolan doesn't have the rights to being able to say always, you have to experience the movie this way. Not everyone does that. Not everyone has time to experience it that way. Okay? Mm-hmm. Not everyone has at minimum a 4K TV, Nolan.
Dude, the one thing that Nolan needs to figure out for sure is his sound editing.
Dude, both these movies.
Yeah. Fuck.
You cannot do literally anything besides watch the movie, because if you make any other noise, you cannot understand what is being said without fucking subtitles. His are the movies that I need subtitles for, and I hate it because it just, I don't want to, like, if
every
I'm not
scene
watching,
is too quiet and every scene is too loud at the same time. It is awful. Like literally last night, I was trying to watch this with my dad and my grandmother, step-grandmother, whatever, grandmother, and we're sitting here watching the movie. And 1 second, it's like, oh my god, my ears are bleeding because there's this scene where he's flying a jet for less than a second, and it's super loud. And then the very next scene, he's whispering, talking to his wife. I'm just not his wife, but still, you get the point. And
never mind, I'm not gonna make the joke I was gonna make.
Yes. And it's really hard to be able to watch this movie because the entire time it's like, okay, I need you to turn up the volume. Okay, I need you to turn up the volume. Okay, I need you to... Oh, God!
Turn it down, turn it down, turn it down!
Okay, I need
it's
to turn up the volume.
It's always a problem with his freaking movies, though. I think it's been a problem, like, looking at his filmography real quick. From a directing standpoint, let me pull that up. Not the writer, director. I want to say it's probably been a problem since The Dark Knight. Because there are moments like that in The Dark Knight. Not terrible, but there are moments. They liked Christian Bale's bat scent. Yeah, because the Batman accent.
Yeah.
An actor gets to do. They let him go a little harder into it in that movie and made it harder to understand him. Inception has some loud noise moments where you can't hear other things, but it's not as bad. Then you get The Dark Knight Rises, and that one's pretty self-explanatory when you hear Bane. You remember the first trailers for that? We did this so that he has a little bit of breathing room. Oh, yes, Batman. I was wondering what would break first. Just that. Like, that one's self-explanatory. Dunkirk.
That Dunkirk, the entire movie was spoken in whispers, except for the action sequences. So
you know, I know we reviewed it. I don't remember it very well.
I don't blame you. I've watched that movie 3 times, and each time I'm like, have we watched it? Oh, yes. I have watched that movie.
Interstellar is what we're talking about. It has that problem. And Tenet has the problem, too. And we'll get into that on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I don't know why he can't figure out sound. It's arguably what would make his movies the best movies. Not to say, like, his movies aren't top tier. But, like, there are certain moments where I'm like, this... like, because I can't hear certain things, I feel like I'm gonna miss things. Like, I literally, like, in the next movie, and I'll talk about it a little bit more, there's a part where I had to go back 10 seconds to make sure I heard everything, even though I had subtitles on. Because I also want to see them acting. The fact that I can read and watch anime better than a Tenet movie sucks.
What do you mean? It's just... I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna be a devil's advocate on this one. I don't.
Because you agree.
I don't disagree. Yeah.
You can't argue because I'm right. Like, there's no other way about it. Like, at least with a subbed anime, they give you time to like kind of read it and know what's going to be said. So, you get the lines pop up well enough in advance that if you're a quicker reader, you can read it and watch. Like, that's how I do it, because I can skim read, pick up everything real quick while I'm watching.
Yeah, you can look down and look up really quickly.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but with this movie, the problem is they're speaking in the language I 100% understand. I still can't understand them because I can't fucking hear them. So I have to read. But the problem with that is because they expect you to be able to understand what's being said, the subtitles move pretty quick sometimes. You don't have time to look up and kind of put the words to what's being said.
Yeah.
It's already been said. I hate it. This is one of those movies. I like it. God.
Yeah, I really don't disagree with you. If the dialogue was mixed in better, if like the range of sound was a little bit more, I'll say a little less dynamic, but don't get me wrong, it's great. Like I'm pretty sure I watched this in theaters. I'm not 100% sure. Because this was 2014. I was a sophomore, college. So I'm not sure what I was doing at that point. No, I was homeless. Never mind. I didn't watch this in theaters. I wasn't affording theaters at the time. But I'm pretty sure he edits his movies to be heard and seen through a movie theater, because they have the sounds at all points, all around you, everywhere. But that's still not excusable.
Even then, there are problems in it. Like, people have home theaters cannot, like legit home theaters. Prime example, Tim Geddes from Kind of Funny, who they did a Nolan in review. And I watched some of them. I didn't get up to this point on there. I think I got up to when they got to like Prestige or something like that. Let me go to his list real quick. How far did I get? I got up to, I got up to Prestige. Because they weren't doing the Dark Knight ones because they were going to do a Batman review, and then they were going to add the Batman movies to both the Batman list they had going and their Here's for Nolan list they had going. Because it was getting ranked into both because the Dark Knight trilogy is both. I got up to there, and the same thing, like, even in those older movies, apparently, I guess it's a problem. I don't remember some of them off the top of my head. I don't remember Momentum as much. I think I remember Insomnia, but it's been a very long time since I've watched that.
I feel the opposite. Like, I don't remember Insomnia, but I remember Memento.
I remember Insomnia more because it's got Robin Williams. So I've seen that one more. Prestige, I've seen probably the least other than Momentum, but it's really good. But even at that point, he was still being like, it's just the sound design is. I have a home theater; it should work for this. Like,
Mhm.
because he has like a really decked out home theater with like hue lighting and everything, and like surround sound and everything. Like, it should work perfectly for that setting, and it doesn't.
Mhm.
Like, he just doesn't get sound, and it bothers me.
Mhm. But if
I
we
don't
move
know.
past the sound, I mean, other than let's move past the dialogue when it comes to sound. I love the soundtrack when it comes to this movie, and the sound design when it comes to like his interactions with the ship and the ground and all that other stuff. Like, I really enjoyed this.
It's weird that he can be so good at certain things sound
Mhm.
related, but so bad at some others.
Yeah.
Like, I 100% agree with you. Like the spacey sounds are fantastic because
Mhm.
there are moments where it's just pure silence, except for what you're hearing them interact with in the sense of like what their suits doing and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and it works really, really well.
There are other times where he like it's weird because this movie has moments where it does amazing things too when it comes to science. Like this movie is credited with the most accurately rendered black hole ever designed and shown on screen, like on any screen at all. So that's awesome. And then it talks about like relativity and science and that aspect. But then it also does things where like you'll see the ship going across space in the dead of silence, and then for some reason they add like a fire igniting sound or like thunder rumbling because they're like, "Ooh, Saturn, the thunder, ooh." Only because they felt like they had to add something, I guess. But no, whatever. But then there's other things too, like there are other moments where you have to suspend your disbelief for what's happening. Like the whole climax of the film, definitely got to drop your suspension of disbelief for that. Um,
What do you
there,
mean? That's exactly what happens on the inside of a black hole.
totally, absolutely. And then
You have no proof otherwise. Science.
yeah, you're not wrong. Can't disprove you.
You got me there.
but but then they also do some really interesting things with uh oh shit, I lost where I was going with that as I was saying it. I hate my brain.
Fair. I will say, because I hadn't seen it, I had heard about some of the practical effects though that this movie uses.
It's pretty much all practical.
Well,
Pretty
yeah, it's
much.
pretty much all. But like, it works really well for being like practical with some of the stuff that shouldn't be
Hmm.
good in practical. Like there's this without explaining inside the black hole, but saying in the inside the black hole stuff shouldn't work practically,
Hmm.
but somehow it does, which is kind of impressive. Um, because Nolan's a sucker for practical effects, so he's always going to do what he can to do it that way.
Hmm.
And it's interesting. It's visually like very stunning in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Mind you, there are certain moments where it feels like there needs to be more balance between the two.
Hmm.
Like I think that's something that I will like because Nolan doesn't always cause CGI should be used to the director's and team's advantage.
Hmm.
And sometimes I feel like he's just scared to have in his movies.
I mean, I could see that. Yeah.
Because there's certain things where I'm like, okay, that's awesome that is practical, but did we need that to be practical?
Well,
Like,
makes better
does,
acting, maybe. No.
but it's like inanimate stuff that doesn't get interacted with and stuff.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know. It's stuff. It's just interesting stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I didn't look into it. Was the robot 100% practical?
Tars, yes. Tars and Case were 100% practical. They're actually dummies too, I believe. They had a person in there for some of the scenes. Or costumes, not dummies.
The problem with that is like because it's practical, my brain still looks at it and sees it as CGI.
I mean, there are moments like the water planet when he's carrying brands. That's very much augmented with CGI.
Oh yeah. But like there are certain moments where like it just because of how it moves, like almost no matter what, my brain is processing it as CGI, I guess.
Hmm.
Is how I'll put it. Because like it doesn't feel like it doesn't move like something we've seen before, which
Hmm.
is cool. Don't get me wrong. That's not the problem with it. The problem with my is that my brain maybe it's the problem that we've had too much CGI, that we've had really great CGI
Hmm.
over the years, like huge, tremendous steps in CGI. Um that like certain moments like that make me go, this looks like CGI. But I know it's Christopher Nolan, so I know it's probably not.
Hmm.
Which just almost defeats the purpose of what he's trying to do to me, I guess, which it could just be a me problem. It probably is just a me problem right now. Um, it's a weird problem that I've run into with this movie because I'm just like these robots. I feel like they are CGI, and I don't think he wants me to think they're CGI.
Though I do have to say, since we're talking on the subject of the robots, I think my favorite thing about them is how human they sound, even though they're completely inhuman in appearance. Like, they even have inflection of voice, and they have sarcasm and humor, and it's so freaking great. Like, Tars is by far my favorite character in this movie, and
Oh,
he's not even
100%.
important. I mean, kind of important, but still.
No,
He's
he's
also
important. How dare you? How dare you short him?
yeah,
He is important.
he's important, but he's only important because there's one point in the movie where Nolan's like, okay, we might be stretching on a bit the audience can figure out on their own, so we kind of need to vocally explain what's happening here. Ars, you there? All right, perfect.
Well, not even just that. I think Tars is just a fundamental. This movie doesn't work without Tars.
You're not entirely wrong.
Like just like the way like I guess it doesn't work without Tars's humor.
Mm.
Um, because like it's so there are moments where it's so morbid, but
Initiating
also so
self-destruct.
like but also so accurate to what needs to be said in the moment
Mm-hmm.
to like almost bring levity to a moment that feels dire and just like there's no hope. It shows like I guess it shows that like Tars it was programmed correctly. I
Mm-hmm.
guess if that makes sense.
Yeah, 90% honesty, man.
With a good balance of humor.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Other things I want to talk about. I like the use of documentary footage for the opening of this movie because it adds a bit of realism because just it's kind of more realistic.
I disagree because it feels like we get that because I guess all right, it felt too Band of Brothers for me.
Okay.
So I expected it to cut back to it again.
Oh, okay.
You know
I
what I
mean, it
mean?
kind of did.
No,
Not in that
not
aspect, but
no, not like in the way it's set up because
Mhm.
it's set up and almost shot verbatim like Band of Brothers was, like how they talked about and everything.
Mhm.
Like immediately it knew what it was probably going to draw on, which is that. Um, because this is Nolan. He knows Band of Brothers. He's made a war movie about World War II. Like he knows about Band of Brothers.
Mhm. Absolutely, I hear you.
So he's not him just doing that. Just it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, are we never gonna cut back to that? And then it felt jarring when we got back to seeing them in that environment.
Mhm.
Like it because it was just such a juxtaposition. Juxtaposition? I can't remember how to say it. Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
From what we had seen before. Like, and it was at we see it so late in the movie that it doesn't feel like it should have shown up again at all. Because at that point we as an audience, collectively we would have forgotten by then.
Mhm. I mean,
Because
I
it
don't
didn't
disagree there. This movie is long. Like,
fucking hell. If there is one thing I can complain about, like Nolan. not every movie needs to be an hour 40 or 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, like this movie, 2 hours and 49 minutes with credits, is long. And I wrote down key times that I thought were important. We don't leave Earth until 42 minutes into the movie. Yeah. So then we still have 2 hours to go.
Oh my god. When you put it into perspective, holy shit.
Yeah. And then they didn't get to the wormhole until an hour and 2 minutes into the film. So this is long. This is very long.
Understatement.
Yeah. But like that once we get past, like, I feel once we get into the wormhole, this movie kind of goes by for me because I'm completely drawn in at this point. Like like I said, I love a lot of the visuals that this movie has. The cinematography is great. There are so many weird moments in this movie where like the second planet, or not the second planet, the first planet, water planet.
Yeah.
That one is just immensely terrifying in its own way. And
makes me want to play Subnautica, but I don't want to play Subnautica because I do have a fear of the unknown in the ocean because I'm like, I can't tread. So
I love the ocean too. Like, for the same reason, I would become a oceanic explorer and investigator.
I would not. Have fun, buddy. Get taken by a giant squid.
I think I will, thank you. Maybe eaten by a megalodon.
Good, fuck you. Have fun.
I will, in the name of science.
You've seen me play Subnautica. It's not a great sight.
We need to get you to play more horror games, friend. Woo.
Sometime.
But from after we get through the wormhole, this movie for me is completely different thing. And I love how, in this instance, they do linear storytelling in a much better way, or like multiple story arc storytelling in such a good way, where we can go through one time period and then go through another time period and still have a story that all connects and combines, and it just makes sense in its own ways, but it's not confusing either.
Oh, I 100% agree with you there. Nolan's really good at that with stories. Like, he's good at giving you the pieces to a story that he's not going to show you the answer to until the end. And you're going to be like, oh. And you might get pieces of it. Like, there are certain things where I'm like, oh, it's from the get-go. As soon as, like, I knew there's a ghost, I'm like, no, that's going to be that person. You got 100%. I was immediately like, okay. Yes,
dialogue gives it away in the movie, like 100%.
But I can understand if you're not like looking for those pieces, but I've watched enough Nolan films to be looking for those fucking pieces. That like you might miss that. Which I think is great because it's a great way to tell stories.
Mm-hmm.
Still feels longer than it needed to be.
I hear you. It's like, long.
Yeah. I'm not gonna, I don't want to critique it for its length, but I almost have to because it's just like finding time to watch this movie. Like,
this was a hard week. we had to watch nearly 6 hours of movie. We don't do that often. Even for 3 movie weeks, we often don't watch 6 hours worth of movie.
No. And this was tough this week because like I had plans. Like I was gonna like the problem too was I had planned on watching one of these Saturday. But I literally just, I got home after running a few errands and accidentally just passed out. And I was like, I still need to stream today. Still need to do this. Still need to do this. So I need to do all that. Maybe I'll fit in on Sunday. Sunday, I had a plan for a walk. 10-mile walk. Did that. Brunch. Did that. Got home. Passed the fuck out before watching in the movies. And I was like, fuck.
There was also I think it was Saturday, where you had your 6-hour stream, and I was like, Jesus, that's long. I can't even stand 2 hours sometimes. I don't know how people can do so long.
I was just in it, dude. I was having fun.
That's good. Having fun is good.
There are nights where it's just like I just can't stop. Won't stop.
Eh, eh,
Um,
eh,
yeah. But that's the problem with that's the problem with his movies. It's just they feel like I feel like he lets them go longer than they probably should because of his goddamn ego. I'm sorry, because Christopher Nolan has a fucking ego. I don't care what anyone says.
You're not wrong. He does have an ego. I mean, he's the one that people yell out about Marvel movies, right?
One of.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he's a critic of what he thinks movies should be.
Guess what? It's not up to him.
Yeah, like his movies are up to him though, and he makes 2.5 hour long films.
The problem with his movies being that long is sometimes they just drag.
Mm-hmm.
Like
They're definitely
if they're
slow
not
moments.
if they're not movies that have a decent pace of I don't think a movie should be over 2 hours. Maybe I'll allow 2 hours 20 minutes.
Mhm.
Okay, that's my threshold. If it's not got some form of action or I guess not maybe action by necessarily, but things that are going to happen action, if that makes sense. Like something that feels like momentum,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Because perfect example, horror movies rarely go past the 2 hour mark.
Yeah.
Because there's I don't want to say there's not enough there for a horror movie to go past, but depending on how it's written.
Yeah, I
there
mean, you're
isn't.
not entirely wrong. There's a premise to the film, and then once they get to that premise, they extract what they can, which is about 2 hours, and then they're like, all right, we're done.
Yeah. And sometimes Nolan's films feel like they should be like that. They should be, hey, we extract what we can. It doesn't need to go past a certain point. Like, we could have sped up a lot of the stuff at the beginning
Mm-hmm.
and
Absolutely.
still gotten the same emotional payoffs.
We could have
I don't-
probably cut that intro 20 minutes.
Yes, easy. Minimum 20 minutes, which easily would have made this movie more digestible. And I think that's always going to be a problem with his movies because it's just I like his movies, but it is tough to find the time. It's why I don't rewatch his movies often because who has the fucking time?
Make time. This is an event.
Listen, if I'm gonna make it, there are certain movies that I will make time for without a doubt.
Endgame.
But yeah.
Infinity War.
But Infinity War still Infinity War goes off what I'm saying though. It has moments of action to carry the movie forward.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sitting there at a moment being like, "We doing anything?"
But I mean, this movie isn't described as an action movie.
No, it's
So,
not.
Like,
No,
why
no,
does
but
the
I'm saying,
action have to be? I'm being devil's advocate in this instance. How does action have to be the incitement to keep you interested? If this,
Well,
action
I'm not
film?
saying not necessarily action. I'm saying a forward a a momentum, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because Interstellar, I would say that momentum burst comes at the tail end.
Mm-hmm.
When Dr. Mann shows up.
Yeah, I can hear that.
That little bit I feel comes too late in the movie.
Okay.
If it was a little earlier, I feel like because it feels this movie's an endurance race. You need your second wind at some point, right? I guess a way to compare it would be to Endgame at 3 hours. Comparing Endgame to Irishman, okay? They're about the same length. Endgame, you might have that moment where you might wear out, but you know what it does immediately? It switches something up. It does something different. It changes, not even necessarily an action. Partway through Endgame, we lose the Tesseract, and Stephen, Tony go, all right, then what do? We do this. It's a change up. You don't expect that to happen, so you're invested, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have that momentum of just where they got to go, this and that, and you kind of have that in Interstellar, but you have too much of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you're getting. You're not getting anything to kind of switch it to change the momentum to give you some sort of burst to it and tell Dr. Man. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, there's not a thing to kind of like, oh, kind of twist it, you know? Everything's already been explained to you
Mm-hmm.
as in what's going to happen. Like, when we get down to the water plant, we already know that time is going to have been used.
Yeah.
We don't know how much time, but we know it's got to be a lot of time because it's got to be an impact.
Mm-hmm.
And then they told us the time. I don't think that's enough of a switch up for us to be that carrying momentum forward.
But what about what happens on the water planet itself? Is that not enough either?
That's only expected. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You don't have, okay, in a science fiction movie where people go to space, you don't have 4 crew members. 3 of them go to the planet. And all of them make it back.
I hear you.
As someone who has seen enough science fiction movies, that is arguably the most predictable moment of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
How that happens? Not. Because, like,
I was about to say, the how is what I'm implying.
Dude, okay, no, the how 100% is unexpected. But I guess, and it's visually stunning, don't get me wrong. But I'm more saying, like, I'm expecting something to happen there because of, I guess, the setup of the thing, how they get there, if that makes sense. The moment someone goes, all right, I'll stay on the ship, I'm immediately going, so someone's gonna die? Like, I'm sorry. I've seen enough Star Trek. I've seen enough Star Wars. I've seen enough goddamn who knows what sci-fi movies, aliens, well, you name it. I've seen space enough times to know the moment one person stays on the ship and everyone else goes, either that person on the ship is dead or one of the people who goes is dead.
I get it. You get tropes. I understand.
So I know something is going to happen there. And it's visually amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's enough of a, like, I don't consider that the pace changer, if that makes sense. Because, like I said, it should be expected in a way. How you get to that expected moment is played on with your expectations because, like, literally, how they say it, you think they're mountains, they're not. That is, because how they shot it, it's beautifully shot because you're like, oh man, those look like mountains.
Yeah, the cinematography is amazing in this movie. That's why I'm like,
oh, those mountains are pretty far away.
And
then all of a sudden, they're not mountains, and then you go, oh, and then you see Matthew McConaughey go, oh,
yeah,
oh,
yeah. No more spoilers. You're implying too much.
Yeah, whatever. But like, I expect something to happen there. The how it happens is different, but like, I don't think it's the pace changer that I'm looking for, if that makes sense. Because
yeah, I hear you.
And even if it was, there's such a long stretch between that moment and Dr. Man.
Well, yes and no. There's
a lot of
we go back to like Earth people at that point,
yes,
and it's a different story. Yes,
we're there for a very long time. We come back. We come back to the ship crew, and it takes a while for everything with Dr. Man to happen. Like all the talk with him, and I'm like, there's just a lot of build to those. There's not. I guess there's a lot more build up to the payoffs. I guess there's it feels disproportionate.
I hear you.
At least for me.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing.
No, I know. I think that's my problem with this movie. It's just like, I don't think it's a bad movie, but just like, I think because I feel like it could have been cut just a little bit. It's got the same problem I had with The Irishman. Not that we've ever reviewed it, but like, if that movie was just, should have been cut.
Not 4 hours long.
All right, we're not going to get to the Snyder Cut.
So yeah, I hear you. The only other thing I want to talk about when it comes to this movie is I like their lack of dialogue, like text over the screen. But I don't think that was used once in this movie, and I very much appreciate that. Like they did a lot of vocal exposition dumps, I'll be honest, but with those exposition dumps, they were able to get the story progressed in a way where they didn't have to literally write it on the screen. Where they could be like, yeah, the next time we talk to your father, he's going to be at Saturn 2 years from now. And then the next frame is them at Saturn. And like, it's not that blatant.
2 years.
Yeah, it's not that blatant the way I said it, but they say it multiple times. Yeah, it'll take this long to get there, and then it'll take this long to get here, and then the whole trip will be about 2 years.
Here things may be like this,
Mhm.
which may take this much time. This and that, here and there.
Yep.
There's one point where time doesn't make sense to me, and it's actually with the water planet. Because how much time has passed on the water planet doesn't make sense to me.
No, I 100% agree. They cut some stuff out, I feel like. But thankfully they did.
Well, yes and no. It's the one time where I'm like, this isn't because we have no understanding of how much time actually passed for them.
Apparently it was 45 minutes, but it felt like 2.
It was longer than that. Because it's supposed to be X amount of time is here. I'm gonna type it.
Well, for them on the planet, that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they thought they'd be there for about an hour, and they land. They do whatever they thought they were doing, but it was very quick for them. At least it seemed like as soon as they landed, stuff happened, and then the event happens. Then Tars says it'll take about 45 minutes, and then about 2 minutes later in the movie, they're like, "Oh, time to go."
I sent you a thing. I think that was the time to time
Where
ratio.
Did you send it?
Discord.
I'll pull it up on my phone.
Okay, sorry, I forget about that until. Listen, you're talking to the guy who pops out his thing so that I could use Discord.
Yeah, I don't need to use Discord, so.
I know. Sorry, I forget about it.
I don't have 3 monitors.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's about the right time that they say in there.
Which isn't the amount of time we feel like we're there.
No, not at all.
There's no explanation for how long we have been there.
Mm-hmm. Not at all.
Which is one of those times where I think something that was cut shouldn't have been cut, or at least there needs to be an explanation why it feels that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because as someone who watched this movie for the first time, that happened. I'm like, wait, what? How has it been that long? You guys haven't been there that long, right?
I mean, they talk about it being different than what they expected while being on the planet, because and then they have to extrapolate ideas and theories very rapidly, but we're not given any concrete proof or evidence as to what happens. So
true. Still, it's just one of those things that, like, I guess don't give us the don't give us the before bit of how much guesstimated time is going to take there.
Yeah, we don't need that's one thing that I'll say about pretty much every movie. We don't need arbitrary time limits. Like, we have 2 hours, we have 45 minutes, we have 3 days. Like, those are supposed to those are used to set up urgency in a film, but I don't feel like those kind of lines really help.
It depends on how they're used. This is a movie that I guess my problem with how they use that urgency is it doesn't feel urgent enough. Because they seem to dawdle around a little bit occasionally with their urgency.
I mean, they got Plan B.
I mean, but like, so? I'm sorry. I don't care if you got a Plan B. That doesn't excuse, like, telling us all the fucking time that you have, like, oh, we have X amount of time to get this done. And just, like, always seemingly running out of that time.
But I mean, the last thing that I want to talk about, this is kind of tangenting into that, is there are some things that apparently overpower time, like gravity, because it's relative in itself, but also love and human experience. That is powerful. That is as powerful as any fifth dimensional being.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, that's this movie.
Yeah, fucking like the moment Anne Hathaway says love, my mind immediately went, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Are we really doing this?
That the Mitchells versus the Machines covered that. Don't say love or something arbitrary.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sorry. That is a weirdly lame way of doing that. For a movie that has been, for the most part, pretty scientific.
Hmm.
You're gonna go with that
She's
as your science.
yeah, it's dumb. It's like she's an established scientist, and then at this one moment, she's like, ah, fuck science. I mean, it's science because I say it's science in its own way, but fuck science.
Well, I mean, she wants to fuck science.
Yeah. I mean, all in all, if I had to like overall like summarize my thoughts on this movie, I really enjoyed it. Like, it's slow, yes, but I feel like the visuals for me and the cinematography and like just the concepts behind it really keep me invested. But I could also see from like the casual aspect, if you're not there to like just look at how pretty it is, it could be very boring.
And that's probably more where I'm at. Like, as much as I love visually stunning movies, don't get me wrong. And I've sat through some movies that I will fully admit drag the fuck on. Look at you, Exorcist. I will always come back to you. Me and Steven will continue to argue about that one.
What do you mean? I haven't argued about that. I'm just kidding.
You going, how the fuck do you like this one more than other horror movies?
Yeah.
I don't know. Just do, buddy.
You and your nostalgia.
Yeah, pretty much. This one is one of those ones that like I do love a lot about it. But it's one of those ones where if I just had like 20 or 30 minutes less of it, I'd love it more.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's like counterintuitive to some movies, but like, or it just needs not as lame of a closer, I guess.
Yeah, the ending is left pretty ambiguous, but not like.
But he always does that. He never closes a movie in a non-ambiguous way. Not even the Batman movies get it closed in an ambiguous way.
Like, yeah, like this one felt like it had, like, at the end of it, you have to kind of like sit there thinking about how they ended the movie because it's kind of really shitty in its own ways, especially when you think about it from Murphy's perspective. But, you know, he's
Power of love.
Yeah, and yeah, power of love gonna send them back out there.
God. Yeah, I just
You want your popcorn kernels?
Yeah, I'll take my popcorn kernels.
Let's say what you were gonna say there, but then
I think with that too, it's just like Nolan just I don't think wants to give you like a concrete ending ever. I don't know why he is so just opposed to it.
Wants to keep
I don't
you
know
thinking.
whose concrete ending was made that hurt him so badly.
Who hurt you? Oh,
I'm curious because it's just like I can't name a movie I've watched of his offhand. I mean, some of his early ones I think have concrete endings, but like as time has gone on, his endings have become more and more open-ended. Like, ooh, did the top stop spinning, or did he find her in space? Ooh, did Robin become Batman?
Ooh. That's funny.
Popcorns. I'm gonna give it. The more I talk about it, I don't want to give it too low of a score, so I'm giving it an 8.5.
I was gonna say that's still higher than I thought.
It's a beautifully shot movie and a great movie. I'm debating on an 8, but like I feel like because I started at a 9 and I've slowly kind of like nicked at it a little bit here and there mentally. Like it's probably sitting at an 8.4 for me, but I'm gonna round up
Mhm.
instead of round down. If it hit an 8.3, maybe I would have rounded down.
Yeah.
But it's like right there where it's just like it's really great, but like having to find time to watch it since it's not in theaters.
And
Like if you're
having
going to theaters, you're devoting that time to that. You've already
Yeah.
planned for it. Non in theaters movies, that's way harder to do.
And plus, you can't even really hear it. So,
God,
yeah.
it's another one of those
Like,
ones that you
don't
can't
get me wrong.
hear.
I'm singing praises for this movie in a lot of aspects, but I myself am only going to give it an 8.5. Like, I figured you'd give it like a 7 myself. So,
Eh.
yeah. Like,
Wow,
this,
that's a solid 8.5.
yeah. This is, to me, a very well-made, very high concept film. I think the next time I watch it, I'm going to be very inebriated under something. I don't know what yet. I'll figure it out.
Fair.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I need to go grab
Damn
something.
it. I need to do the same thing.
All right, quick break, people.
No, go ahead.
No, we can just have a moment of complete silence.
Yeah, totally.
That's how
Dead
podcasts
air.
work.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Here I was about to be like, Dev, distract the host. Because I literally have food that is coming out of the oven in less than a minute. I have been timing it and watching this shit. I'm hungry, damn it. Gotta wait for Dev now. But yeah, so that's Interstellar. This was fun. It was entertaining. Can I go get my stuff now?
Yeah, go.
Yay. Alright, I'm grabbing dinner. Give me a second.
Wow. Eating on the job. How dare he? This is the most organized podcast this has ever been. I don't even know what to talk about right now. This movie is just long, man. I don't get it. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Do I give it lower? I'm not gonna give it lower. I've already given it where it is. Still. Just a long fucking movie. I don't know why. It doesn't need to be that long. Doesn't make sense.
How was your silence?
Yeah, it was alright. I tried talking a little bit here and there.
That's good. So, are you ready to start talking about our second movie?
Yeah, let's talk about our second movie.
Yay, our second movie that also took forever. Also, oddly enough, about time and traveling through it in some aspect.
Yeah, because it's, the same forward as it is back.
Haha.
Tenet.
That, like, really, I'll be honest, just knowing that really made me upset watching this movie. Like, 100%. I sat down, I looked at my stepmother, and I was like, you realize the title of this movie's a palindrome? And she's like, oh, I hadn't realized it. And I was like, I think I know what this movie's about.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Knowing that, though, holy shit, is it fucking cool. This is my kind of Nolan movie, okay, straight up. Released September 3rd, 2020, with a budget of $205 million estimated. This is going to hurt reading the rest of this. Opening US, $9 million. Gross US, $58 million. Cumulative worldwide, $363 million. But holy shit, man, this movie is fucking cool.
I'm going to slightly disagree with you.
Oh, dude, this is... Okay, this has everything. This is New York's hottest nightclub.
I was going there. I wasn't going to go there, but I was going there.
Gunshots, Russian mob.
Like, this movie...
Robert Pattinson, it's got it all.
Like, this movie for me it's it's okay. It really is very okay. Like it's got some of the like Nolan high concept film that makes you think a little bit, but to me it felt very disconnected because there's moments where he does what he always does where the talking is too quiet and you can't hear what's going on.
Oh God, I
And then
hate it.
yeah, and then we get into these action scenes that like they're interesting action scenes. That is 100% certain. The action moments are very like they like it's hard to explain because it's hard to see what it's hard to understand what's happening, but you can also really understand what's happening at the same time because it's well shot. So
It's
it's
like, there are moments where your brain's like, "How the fuck did he pull that off?" And then
yeah.
you're like, "Oh, I see what's happening here." And the rest of the movie happens, and then you end up back there, and you're like, "Oh!"
Hmm.
But you
Once
know that you're gonna get back there
yeah, once
after
you see
like,
the don't get too into it. But yeah, once you see it again, it's like, oh, now it all makes sense. But
oh, it's so good.
like for me though, I felt like the action moments were too separate. They definitely stuck out in this film. There are moments that will stick with me in my memory as very impactful and very important scenes that are just really cool. But at the same time, I like I said, it just seems like they're very different films. Like they don't have the connective tissue to me that like a Mission Impossible movie does, where they have the big exposition dumps and it's not really as much of a high concept as this as if I'm being honest, like Mission Impossible. But then once they get into the really good action scenes, like it all kind of just melds together. And for me in this, it just felt like I was reading something and I like paused the book and then I walked away and then I walked back and then I pressed play again and like it still worked. It still made a good story and it made a visually very entertaining movie. But for me, I prefer Interstellar.
Oh, that's 100% fair. You know, like it's funny that it's not unreasonable for this to be the movie for me because like I am a sucker for spy movies. All right. I grew up on the James Bond movies. Mission Impossible is a franchise I fucking love, i.e. why we even did a fucking skit for it. Um
It
like
was your idea to do that skit.
uh-huh. I love action thrillers, okay? And this is the most action thriller Nolan movie I could ever ask for, while also doing his stupid "I'm so high mind, look at me" bullshit, but in a way that is action thriller. This was made for me, like 100%. Like I would have thought Interstellar was made for me, but it's just a little too long. I think this comes in just about perfect at a little over 2 hours and 20 minutes if you cut out the credits. Like it's just a little over that, which I think is the perfect cutoff right there. Because I don't think there's a fault. There's a Mission Impossible movie that's really longer than that. There's probably some Craig Bond movies. I think Casino Royale might be running about that long or a little
I was
longer.
about to say the more modern Bond movies are long.
Yes, um, they feel long. Is part of the part with them. This movie, like I think, was well paced. Anytime there is a moment where I'm like, oh, the thing's happening, I'm really invested. Like as soon as anything with the thing happens, I became so invested. Like, oh god, it's just it's so because your brain immediately goes, how, what, ooh,
Like for me watching this movie, the things that really caught my attention were trying to figure out who was going in which way.
yeah, yeah, dude.
Yeah. So like especially when it came to like the football as they called it, the orange case.
Yes.
Like that whole segment,
Holy shit.
ooh, that was like the best part of this movie.
And then finding out where it went.
Yeah,
And being
exactly.
like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, huh? Where?
Mm-hmm. Like I loved watching the just the scene as it was playing out. Like you're sitting there and it's like, oh, is this really happening? And then suddenly you see the car coming in reverse. It's like, oh shit, this is really happening. So like, yeah, there's some really entertaining moments in this movie that happen, yes. But to me, I didn't like, because I guess because I knew what was going to happen with the end story. I'm ultimately left a little disappointed because
Listen, it's understandable to be disappointed in a Nolan end of a movie. Listen,
yeah.
I was 100%. It was one of those things where he did his stupid little, "Ooh, I'm so smart. Leave it open ended."
Well, I
Like
actually feel like this has a more
more
distinct.
close, but there's still enough open ended, especially involving Robert Pattinson. There's enough open ended talk that your brain's like, "Oh, what does that mean?
I could
Oh
see there
man."
being one sequel to this movie, and it being from
I
his
would
perspective.
Okay, I would think that would actually I'd be cool with that.
Okay.
Just wondering, I'd wonder how far ahead he was
Mm-hmm.
and like how he got there, because like
Like this movie, 100% made me think of Doctor Who. Ever
also it's
watched?
got time travel. I'm a sucker for time travel
Yeah,
too.
time travel is awesome, but literally, it like as this movie was progressing, and events were coinciding, I was like, okay, I know what happened here. I know what happened here. I know what happened here. But it really 100% made me think I was watching David Tennant Doctor Who, because there's a storyline in there with one of the characters that felt very similar to what happens in this movie. So for me, like, once again, it's just I almost feel like this movie was Nolan being like, I have an idea.
There was an idea.
Mhm. It almost feels like he went Stephen King with a book. Like Stephen King's like, I have an idea, book done. But Nolan's like, I have got a movie idea, and then he missed a few keys.
I mean, let's be real. He always misses a few keys.
You're not
It's
wrong.
not it's not unexpected for him to do that. I'm not saying this movie's flawless, but for me, it's pretty damn good. Like it's up there for me for like for thriller movies. Straight up. Like it's got to be within like my top 5, I would think at this point. I think the only movies that it really has to compete with would be Skyfall, um, some of the newer Mission Impossibles, especially Fallout, because Fallout has some of the greatest moments a thriller has ever had for me. Especially that scene where he's fighting Henry Cavill. Like, there's so many like that shot where it just goes to white. That's all I need to say.
Yeah,
That
that
is
one's
the
pretty
scene,
good.
like where it's like, oh, you know it's not gonna happen, but your brain goes, oh no,
Did
and
he
just
do
the
it?
camera trying to like, ah.
Yeah.
That that's how you do action suspense. That is probably my number one action suspense movie, because that scene, even though you know how it's gonna play out, yes, still gets you. This movie has a lot of those moments for me though, like when they walk into the room and you see the glass on like the divider
Mhm.
broken, and he's like, they haven't been shot yet,
Like,
and
yeah,
you're like,
there are moments where it's like, okay, yeah,
I'm
like,
curious to, and like that scene plays out, but the entire time my brain's going, I think I know what's actually happening here, and
mhm,
I was right.
mhm.
But that's the best part of it, like being able to piece certain things together. Because
Like,
I love doing that. I love doing that with a movie or a thing. Like I did that with Bioshock Infinite.
I no, I agree with you. I love being able to piece things together, but for me, I was disappointed because I was able to piece it together too quickly. I literally read the title and was like, I think I can figure out what's gonna happen here. I,
Steven, you also made us watch a movie that had the cross in the poster.
yes, I did. Which was your favorite part of the movie?
Yeah, and it completely ruined it for me, so
It's kind of disappointing. But like at the same time, this movie, all in all, I'm gonna watch it again. I need to at least watch it 2 more times.
yeah, right? Same.
Because it's interesting. It's gripping for sure. Like I didn't end up writing any notes on this movie because I just wanted to watch it, and it's awesome. It's but at the same time, I hold Nolan movies to a little bit more, and this one wasn't quite there for me. Don't get me wrong. One of my favorite things probably has to be the whole like philosophy behind it, and like, and once they get to the end of the film, the whole that whole end sequence is really great.
Oh my god. Dude, all I have to say is the building drop.
Yeah, that one I was like, wow.
Holy shit. I saw him lining up like, wait.
And they did
what?
it.
Just perfect sync on it. Like, I'm like, oh my god.
Like I also remembered, that makes me think of, like, this movie starts with one person, right? Our main character, our protagonist with no name, just protagonist.
I love that, by the way. That is actually like relevant to the movie too. I'm the protagonist. We've got inverted antagonists. I'm like, hold up, movie. That is weirdly meta for it actually, like, because it's about just not giving the information, because information is ammunition. And it's like that's the best way to go about that, in my opinion. I fucking love that.
Like, it went okay to me. To me, it was like, all right, whatever. Sure. I mean, it was funny. It was definitely meta in that moment. But to me, the movie starts with that one main character, and then it just seems all too streamlined. Like, there doesn't really feel like there's a struggle at any point for our character to get over. I mean,
Steven?
Yeah?
What happened, happened.
Yeah, what happened, happened. Movie got a movie, I get it.
This is one of those times where the movie literally goes, movie's got a movie for me. I don't have to say it. The movie literally goes, what happened happened.
Yeah, you can't change it now. It's happened. It's
I'm like, man, I don't have to say it. The movie's saying it now. All right. This is the one time me and Nolan are on the same fucking page. What the fuck?
Like, what happened happened. I like, that's so bullshit too, because they're a time traveling organization.
That's such bullshit too. Just the visceral to that.
It's just true. Like, I've been thinking about, like, I like time travel stuff. It's funny. It's interesting. I'm actually looking very forward to, I doubt it's going to happen, Umbrella Academy Season 3, because they do some really interesting time travel stuff in Umbrella Academy, by the way, if you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it yet.
So, it's not the best, I'll be completely honest. There could be better. It could be a lot better. But it does okay. It's entertaining to a degree, and it has some pretty interesting time travel stuff that I want to see how they go through with that stuff. BioShock Infinite has an amazing time travel story. Hell, fucking Star Trek has time travel at least in every single season. So,
at least once.
Yeah, at least once.
And like every like 3 movies.
Let's see. Out of the most recent 3 movies,
the first one has time travel.
Mm-hmm. And I think the third one has a little bit to do with time, but not time travel necessarily.
It's more like time distortion.
Yeah.
In a way. But what? Like every other Star Trek movie before that had time travel? Search for Spock had what? Or no, the one after Search for Spock had humpback whales time traveling. You had
the one after that had God in the center of the universe.
That was not a great movie. Yikes. I forget about that one.
A lot of people
purposefully.
Do. Yeah.
Forcefully forget about that. Arguably one of the best Star Trek movies. I'm gonna forget the name now suddenly. Well, actually 2 of my favorites. One of them's not argued as being one of the best, but I have a soft spot for it. Generations has time travel. I know it's not held up very highly, but I enjoy it because it's got both captains in it. Okay, so fuck you.
Oh, Captain, Captain.
And then the Borg one.
First Contact.
Okay, I thought that was First Contact, but my brain's blank. It was like Is it First Contact?
They literally have called First Contact in every series of the show. There's like the movie First Contact. There's at least one episode in each series called First Contact. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So yeah, so like I like time travel stuff, and when I think of time travel things, um, I always think of time travel as like a closed loop theory of time travel, or if it's happened, it's gotta happen. Like, but at the same time,
what happened?
at the same time, it's just so stupid to me. It like there's nothing other than them saying what's happened makes it the law that they can't change anything. Like,
Well, it's because it's the what it is the I guess it would be the unpredictable. Because if you've already seen something happen that way and you try to change it, what if it gets worse? That's what it is.
I mean, maybe, but like, we don't know. We are not told what happens if they change anything. We're just supposed to go along with it.
Because they don't want to change what happened.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he would willingly change what happens at the end of the movie.
Well, he could have.
But then what would have happened?
Exactly. Because guess what? That what happened is his philosophy. Now, who planted it and who is up to the movie to decide. It's the chicken and the egg story all of a sudden.
Yep.
Which I do love that. Also, this has a lot of the actually I know who you're talking about actually, who's the this is exactly that David Tennant episode. Yeah, you're 100%.
There you go. You put it together.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Put it together finally. Sorry. That episode 100% is it. One's beginning, the other's end. And it's so well done. I love that. As soon as I was like, oh, yes. Good call. Dude, I like this movie. Also, it's really well acted through it. There's a scene in this where John David Washington, I can't remember the exact moment, but he has a moment where, like, I know he's not British, but holy shit, does he have the most Bond moment where he does something and does the suit thing? And I'm like, shit, man, you could be like James Bond with that kind of moment. Like, that was that my brain went, that was a Bond moment.
That's probably what he was going for, but I hear you. Yeah. I like that.
It makes me think. You know what I would actually go for? If he was restrained a little bit. Just a little bit.
Like, I wish he had less answers or like more difficulty or something. Because
no, I'm saying I'm gonna pitch an idea.
Okay.
A Nolan Bond movie.
Nolan makes a Bond movie. I mean, it'd probably come out interesting because a modern Bond movie almost definitely would have to be about like cyber technologies and hacking and like shutting down the world. And he could make some interesting like, ooh, have you thought about this stuff when it comes to cybersecurity?
I would say there would have to be reins on him. But could you imagine the stunts, the action?
See, the only problem with that is where would we put Michael Caine in that movie? Because he's in every Nolan movie.
Hello, Mr. Bond. It's Q here.
Really? Okay. I mean, I can see it, yes, but really? Typecast much?
Yes. Listen, he's always the man in the chair. When isn't Michael Caine the man in the chair? Huh?
He wasn't the man in this chair. He just bought him a really nice suit.
He was the man in the chair. He's only in a chair in this movie.
Oh, that was one thing I gotta say. This movie at the beginning, I didn't like how this movie starts with just names. Like, you gotta find this person to find this person to deal with this person because this happens. Wait, what? You gotta find this person to deal with this person to deal with this person because this happens. Okay, so I found this person. Now what? Oh, now you have to go find this person because this person has done this for this person. Okay. Which I like, sure, it's fine. We get to, he connects the dots, it shows his investigative skills, whatever. But it's literally just names. Like, they're said as things that are supposed to be important, but they're not important to us, the audience. A lot of the stuff, too, our characters just already prepared for. Like, he's a well-trained fighter, so any fight, he doesn't really have any problems. They've planned everything out in advance, so, well, most of the things out in advance. Towards the end, it's kind of just go by the seat of your pants, but everything else is pretty much planned out ahead of time, so it gets weird. I don't know. Like, this isn't a bad movie. Not by any means. It's a shame that it released right in the middle
During
of the
2020.
pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if they
Seriously.
just waited, like they should have, would have been
Yep.
fine. But whatever.
100%. But no, dude, like this movie and Black Klansman has sold me on John David Washington. Like, let's go. I'm 100% in with whatever he's gonna do. He's apparently gonna be in Beckett as Beckett. 2021 movie releasing expected August 27th, 2021. And then an untitled David O. Russell production. And plot details kept under wraps.
It's Malcolm and Mary movie. That's that Zendaya movie you were talking about that was made
Oh, yeah.
one location and out of a ball.
Yep.
During COVID times. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Popcorn
No, like this is one of
kernels?
those things where it's just like I fucking enjoy this movie, man.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand why. For me, I'll watch it again. Yes. But like I said, I'd probably watch Memento over this. Only because that one makes me think more, and I'm like, ooh. Even though I already know how the movie ends, and like the moment of it's kind of the twist is ruined. Like, it's still, I like that. I like that kind of high thought stuff.
There. Oh, this John is only 5'9". I'm about the same height as him, or about the exact same height as him.
Which person? Sorry?
Sweet. John David Washington. He's 5'9". He does not present himself as 5'9", and it makes me feel better knowing that I could, if I got a little fit, I could, stand as tall as him.
You should look at how tall.
Tom Cruise is.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to meet Tom Cruise surely to be like taller than him.
Yeah, you're short.
You could kick my ass in 10 different ways, but I'm taller. So ha.
Okay, what you need is to get with Elizabeth Debicki, because she's a giant.
Ooh.
The lady. This
Oh.
movie. She is
Wait,
6'3".
No.
Yeah. You didn't notice that in this movie? That she's the tallest character?
I didn't. What? Holy crap. She's a tower.
And she's only 4 years younger than me. Or older than me. Yeah, she's a tall
Oh, yeah,
woman.
she was in Guardians. She's our Marvel connection of the day.
You're welcome. Yesha? Where that is?
The Lady in Gold in Volume 2.
Ah, yes, her.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to tell me about the ancient ways of mating. That lady. Okay.
Yep. I don't think anyone else has been in a Marvel movie, these last two movies. Huh. Weird. I mean, technically in Interstellar.
I'd say Matt Damon's been in Deadpool. I'm just kidding.
Well, actually, Matt Damon was in Thor Ragnarok as the Loki actor.
So there you go. Two Marvel connections of the week.
Technically, Wes Bentley was Blackheart from Ghost Rider, but we don't know 100% if Ghost Rider is going to be dragged into the
Not
official
Nicolas Cage's
MCU.
Ghost Rider.
God, please give me that. If I could have anything in the MCU that is outlandish and stupid, other than Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool, which is already a given at this point, they're not going to give that up.
Mm-hmm.
They understand that they understand that if anyone plays Deadpool, it's Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, and
I appreciate.
Plus, Deadpool is the fourth wall breaking character. Doesn't
Yes.
matter. Ryan Reynolds is the one thing that has to remain consistent.
Yes. But give us back Nick Cage, Ghost Rider. Skip Spirit of Vengeance. Don't let that one happen.
What I say, I mean, I'd totally be for it because I could imagine the cinematography of like a well-produced Kevin Feige's Ghost Rider. But like,
oh my god,
I also don't want to experience that.
You don't want to.
Oh, the flames! The flames!
Yeah, give a Marvel budget to a Nick Cage Ghost Rider movie. Do it. Don't be scared.
Be scared. It's Nick Cage.
I know, that's the best part. That would be fantastic, and you know it, and you would love seeing it.
I probably would.
Because it would be the most unique MCU movie to date.
Quick side tangent. Which one do you think is the most unique MCU movie?
So far?
Yeah. I'm leaning towards Doctor Strange, only because it's the one that ends the most differently out of all of them. Other than Infinity War.
Well, I would go with Endgame. Because the amount of like plots that movie actually kind of goes through. The amount of like character moments that movie has. It has some of the best quips. It's the most Marvel movie, that makes sense, which I think makes it stand out as the most unique Marvel movie because it is everything Marvel, if that makes sense. Which makes it the most unique but the least unique because of it. But it's the most unique because it's the only movie that could literally be like, this is the MCU. It's the only movie that I can point to. I can't even point to Infinity War and say that. You're damn near close to being able to do that. But Endgame is the movie that you could literally, like, it's the movie that you pull up the fan reactions and you still sit there and you get those fucking chills.
If you're a nerd.
You've done it before, haven't you?
I've done it with other things, but yes. Not the Endgame ones. I've seen them pop up on my timeline and I'm like, it's just not important. Do
it at least once, Steven.
My own theater experience was fine enough. I don't need other people's theater experience.
No, but you trigger that moment of your theater experience.
We want to move on to spoilers?
Yeah, let's go. Here's your popcorn.
For me, I'm giving Tenet a 7.5.
You're gonna hate me on this.
No, you liked. It's fine. As long as it's not a 10. I'm just kidding.
It's a 9.5.
And that's fine. It's more than I thought, but still. That's just your story for today. More than I thought.
Fair enough. I'm a sucker for an action thriller. Let's be real. That is this is my bread and butter. Like, this is the kind of movie that you throw me and I'm gonna be like, yes. Give me more. This is probably also the first outside of the Batman movies that is a Christopher Nolan movie that I'm like, sequel?
I mean, like I said, the only reason I would watch a sequel to this movie, well, I mean, we'd have to for the show, but the reason I'd want to see it is to see Neil's perspective of the events. Watch it from when he was first recruited by the old protagonist, and then go through from there. And then I still hope in that second movie he's still only called the protagonist. He's not given a first name. Yeah.
Oh god, that'd be so good.
Yeah. So I guess can you hit the spoilers button?
Let's get ready to spoil. God, it's good to know that that's working now.
Yep, it's been fixed. Hooray. So, spoilers for Tenet. Anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled, leave now or forever deal with the spoilers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's so cool, that fucking fight that he has with himself.
Yeah.
In the fucking airport. There's that moment where it looks like, oh, what the fuck is happening? And he does that weird like shimmy on the
Yeah,
ground.
the shimmy
And I'm
crawl.
like, holy shit, what the how did you pull that off as an effect?
Mhm,
Like, how did you shoot that to make it look like he was in reverse?
mhm.
Because like that was so well done. I don't know if it was actually shot and then reverse, because also like he's moving forward as himself in that scene. Like, how the fuck do you emulate that? It's so fucking
Yeah,
cool.
the movie itself, it's so strange. Like, they filmed it one direction, they filmed it the other direction, they stitched them together, they added CG effects.
Oh, also
Ooh.
the fact that there's 3 of them there
Mhm.
is also like that moment where I'm like, oh yeah, there's 2. Oh no, there's 3 of them there because he's got to go. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I'll be honest, this kind of there are moments that confuse me about it. This is one of those ones that kind of confuse me only um because from my understanding there was when we first see the fight, there's the 2 men, one of them was inverted, one of them wasn't. And then we later find out that they're the same man because it's like, oh, they were the same person, blah 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 blah. And then like it's implied that Neil knows what's happening because he rips the mask off. We never see who's under the mask, and he runs away. And then later on, he's like, "Don't kill him," for one, and then 2, ask him about something, and then yada blah 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 blah. So it's like, okay, something's going on there. But then, in the second instance that we see this, when we get to see it from the future perspective and in the inverted perspective, I mean, he comes out of the chamber inverted, then he goes in
Reverted.
reverted.
He goes into it reverted
Mhm.
when he comes out and runs into Neil.
Mhm. Yeah. So he's back to normal after he's exited and left Neil, right?
Yeah.
So why is it the next instance we see them, they're re-inverted on the shipping container, going backwards in time?
Oh, that's wait, the shipping container, that's later. Because they do the
Because
they save her.
yeah, they save her by putting her back like a week into the past or whatever.
Yeah.
And
And
but
then
then
go
they
through
should be
the thing and come back.
they go through another time?
No, they go like when they get to the airport, they go through once. Okay?
Yeah, which puts them back to normal time.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then they have the conversation of when they need to oh, I'm trying to piece it together. Sorry, I just finished. Hold on, let me
Yeah,
pull
no
this up real
worries.
quick.
Because so they're
I
going
have
forward
HBO
in
Max right
time,
here.
but then I'm pretty sure the next segment is they're on the shipping container.
You might be right, but I just want to double check.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been wrong in the past.
No, never.
Oh, thank you.
No, they're not. So they get out of the airport, and then he goes and talks to the lady who's
Priya
been giving.
again.
Yeah, Priya.
And
He
then
talks
it's
to Priya,
normal.
and then it's normal during then, and then you go back on the boat that's reversing.
Okay. And they just
Yeah,
didn't
there's
show
that.
how they reversed it.
Yeah, they just reversed for that. So
That's fine. Okay.
yeah,
So that makes more sense. I just misremembered something then.
yeah. Happens.
Mhm. That
Um,
happens, yeah. This movie though, like definitely made more sense after things got by, but like watching this movie, like I said, I it's the same forwards and backwards. You know the premise because you watch a trailer and you're like, oh, things are moving backwards through time. Blah 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 blah. So, you can kind of piece together what's happening before you even watch the movie. So I was sitting there the whole movie being like, okay, listening to the dialogue, listen to what happens. It's like, okay, there's this explosion in the desert. Okay, that's important. We'll find out later. And we found out later that that's the most important battle of the entire movie, which was really cool. We learn about like a Mission Impossible style heist that has to happen for a painting. And then that never happened anyways.
yeah.
Because fuck you, lady who's trapped with an abusive man. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still interesting. It's still interesting to say the least. um, we then. I still have to say my favorite segment has to be the normal and inverse car chase.
Oh my god. I didn't even think about it being him at first. And then like partway through I'm like, huh, I wonder if that was maybe if that was Neil or someone else. And then all of a sudden he gets in the car, I'm like, oh. But I did not expect the football to land in the car.
Yeah, no, I didn't either.
That was a shock to me.
Yeah, I kind of wish there was more to that. I really wish there's just a little bit more to the before the pass off, or like something where our version of the protagonist who's going through the events right before he flips and crashes upside down. Like, I wanted there to be just a little bit more of him dealing with him having the object before he crashed, but
yeah,
no, that didn't happen. And like, there were some moments where where they focus on things that I don't think mattered, like in the last segment when Neil is going in normal time to save the protagonist and what's his name. They show
Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
Who, when he showed up, I'm like, oh fuck, is that Quicksilver? I literally paused, pull up my IMDb. That's motherfucking Iron Taylor Johnson as Ivers, I think.
Yes, I can't see his name on here right now. Ivers, one of those two. Yeah. Yeah, like when he shows up down there, they show him like knocking over a pile of rocks on the railing. Like, it's supposed to be very specific and important, but it's not. At least not that I can see. Like, they focus on a broken mirror on a car, and I'm like, oh, I wonder how that breaks. Like, there's some moments where I feel like he should have more of a lack of understanding when something's inverted or not.
I think that's mostly due to how Nolan's direction is. They may not fully know that it's inverted until, like, I think it's that Nolan wants us to know it's inverted. So he's going to, like, hang on the mirror for just a little longer.
Yeah, that's the Chekhov's gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. It, like...
100%.
Especially, too, people that I don't think are important in this movie that we could probably replace. Clement Posey's character of Barbara, who is the scientist who introduced him to the inverted things. Like, I think all of her moments are kind of pointless. We could definitely go without Michael Caine if we just made it so there was, like a little bit more of an understanding of what was going on. Like, if we knew there was an organization, it'd make more sense to have them gone. And then I feel like it would make more sense for our character's story, because our character is, like you said, just kind of going through things. But he somehow has this whole network that we don't know anything about that he's able to do things with. And that kind of ruins some of the thriller for me as well.
I mean, yes and no. I think for me, why it works so well is because, like, I'm also trying to piece together how, like, the moment you don't, like, you see something and you, like, kind of know it's inverted, I'm immediately kind of going, like, but how did it get inverted? What happened here? What's the scene? What are we about to see? Like, part of that for me is, like, the moment when protagonist starts bleeding out of his arm, and you're kind of like, wait, what? How did that start? And then all of a sudden you see him getting dressed, and then you see him put on the mask, and then the helmet gets put on, and I'm like, oh, so 100% I was right. Like, I know I was gonna be right, but then they say, because they say they're going back there, I either thought it was gonna be him or Neil in that uniform.
Yeah, I thought it was both them. Like, I thought the inverted one was him, and I thought Neil was the regular one who got away. At first.
I thought that's too, but then they say the same person. I'm like, so it's either one of them.
Yeah, and then I was like,
the way
no,
Neil reacts, it's got to be one of them.
Yeah, it was 100% one of them. I knew that much. But then I was like, it's fucking the protagonist, because he's the protagonist.
Yes. And it's such a cool, like, you get to piece together exactly who it is through that. Like, you're essentially told it as soon as he starts bleeding in that spot. You're like, oh, yeah,
Which
yeah.
it's funny to think about too, because if time was running normally, it makes sense. Like he just got on that boat that's heading to wherever,
Yep.
and he's recovering from a stabbed arm. But
Yeah.
but since he's going backwards, he's like, "Oh, I'm bleeding, and this hurts a lot." And then, oh, I have this
Well, I
thing pulled
love
out
I
of me.
love that scene when they go back and get in the ambulance and they're driving and you just see them running backwards
Oh yeah.
with the gurney.
Mhm.
But also like you see their ambulance drive past the gold and like, hold on, I'm here now. I got to see if that's actually there in that scene originally. I got to see if the gold when the gold's dropped there, I need to see if that ambulance actually goes by because I'm a sucker for these kind of details.
If it's not there, it's a very missed opportunity. Oh, it's getting hot in my room. So
Hold on, I need to full screen this because it's not as precise when I don't have it full screened.
Investigation is happening.
Yes, I've got to investigate this. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm looking into this. Here we go.
It's
Here's
okay.
this.
We're at the initial crash.
Well, it's after that. They're like laying on. Okay, so it's a little earlier than that. Don't kill him. Also, that scene where like he gets sucked out, but it's really gonna be inverted for him.
Yeah.
Because it's the end. Oh my god, that's so fucking cool.
Like, it definitely was weird to watch that movie, like the first fight scene. The first fight scene was the one that made the least sense to me, because it was like whoever had the initiative is the way that time traveled. So there are moments where he's flipping things and like working backwards, and then there's that one moment where it looks like he's crawling towards the gun, but then
the gun moves.
yeah, like he's like crawling towards the gun. So hang on, let me describe this in a different way. In the first instance, when we see the fight from the protagonist's perspective, he is surprised because it's like weird because we see it in reverse where he's crawling backwards, and our protagonist is confused too because then his body starts acting differently as well, and then suddenly it's back to normal again.
So, I just looked at it too. When the engine blows, I think you could see Neil behind the engine.
Okay, I mean, I might as well double check. I can.
That was about like, hold on. It's at. Hold on, let me go back.
I found Tenet. Pressing play. There might be sound for a second.
If you go to exactly 4750, there's a person behind the engine blowing up.
4750. Okay, I'm at 4730. 51. So I'm at 39. 40. So I see the engine. He's been sucked out of the thing.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't see it. He said 4750? Sorry? What time?
4750.
Because I think the actor's body is in the way.
Nope. Oh, yeah, I see the ambulance going past the gold. Like, it's just off in the distance about, like, before it passes. So let me get to 74050.
Because, yeah, I see.
If you pause it at exactly 4750, because he gets sucked out at 45, and then the engine, it cuts to him, and then you pause it.
Yeah, I think
you can see a person in the background.
If I hit button 6 here on my screen, yeah, you can see him right there.
That's some crazy attention to detail, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I did look. You see the ambulance in the distance when they do that gold where they're picking up the gold, and they're like, "Hey, hey, hey, hey," thing.
Yeah, a little bit further in.
It's earlier. It's earlier in it. It's where is it? I saw it in here.
Oh, yep, I saw it there for a second.
Yeah, you gotta really play some fucking like
4404.
Yeah, around there.
So I'm gonna let it play for a second here. Okay, let's.
If you look, it's coming from the right side. You'll see it in the background.
Yeah, see an ambulance.
So it's further to the right. You're just gonna enter the right of the screen.
Right in the screen, right over there.
Yeah, like where that cop car is, you're gonna see it. Scroll back just a touch.
Okay, so
I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it with how you have it set up on the screen.
Oh, is it that bad? God damn it! I can't.
It's just a little off.
Man, I'm gonna move this
not
over
off by
here.
much.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It's just a little cut off.
Oh, that's right, because I misformatted this a while ago. Oh well. So I'll move that way.
Make us look right there, though. You can see the ambulance perfectly. Yeah. That right there is their ambulance.
That's their ambulance.
Yes, because if you click it, you click play.
It goes forward by the cop car.
Yeah, it's going right by there, and it's gonna pass just in that gap right there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my kind of shit, man. I love this.
Pretty good. Pretty darn good. Yeah, they've got a good attention to detail that's going on in the film. Yes. That's great. That's great to hear. So at least there's that too. Something else we can put into it. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in this movie that really I wanted to talk about. And not really. There's not really anything else. Oh, I didn't talk about in the movie, but the music again. I love that.
Music's fantastic.
Especially love that in different moments, in different segments, they'll use the same song, but have it like the notes played backwards compared to forwards. Or, it's pretty damn sweet.
Talk about using full on. Just use the theme for everything in your movie. Go for it. Yeah, I think that's all I got too.
Hey. Yeah, why not? We can move over to the news and stuff now. You're getting quicker and quicker on the button.
Well, I figured because you said you have nothing else to add. I had nothing else to add, so I just hit the button.
Just wait for me to say it. I'm just kidding. I don't care. So, news wrap up. The only real news that anyone wants to talk about is the Eternals.
Dude, that looks like it's going to be the most unique Marvel movie.
You sure it's not going to be Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Fist or whatever?
I mean, probably Phase 4 is going to be the most unique phase of Marvel. Let's be real.
I hope so, honestly. I hope they branch out into different types of stories and films, and I know they're already doing better with the TV shows. That's for sure.
Oh God, 100%. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is one of my favorite shows I've ever watched.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm biased 100%.
What do you mean?
I'm willing to admit that because it's it does everything I wanted it to do for those two characters, but it does everything I wanted them to do for those two characters. So also WandaVision was pretty damn good. I'm so looking forward to this. I'm looking it's cool to say that I'm looking forward to the Black Widow movie because the first trailer I wasn't 100% in. I was in, but I wasn't 100% in.
Yeah.
As time's gone on, I've seen more from the trailers. I'm like, all right, you know what? You're selling me on this more and more. Shang-Chi sold me on the first trailer, 100%. And the first trailer for Eternals has sold me 100%. There's no idea what it's about, but I'm sold. And I already know the first trailer for No Way Home is going to sell me super hard on that. So, wait, we're going to get 4 Marvel movies this year.
4 movies? I don't think we are we?
Is it Shang-Chi this year?
I thought it was Let me double check. Shang-Chi and
Spider-Man's in December. November's Internals. Next month. No,
September
July.
3rd.
Oh, yay. I'm sorry. I'm really excited for that.
I'm not.
Listen, okay, it's the 1 year we're gonna have 4 movies, okay?
I got so burnt out on 3 movies a year. This is 4 movies in the last half of a year.
Okay, but like we went an entire year without any.
Thank God I had a breather finally.
Okay, pissed off. Fucking fight me.
I do every show.
Let's go.
Oh, Jesus. So
I'm just looking forward to just being able to dive back in the MCU, okay? Because it's just like this, because they're 4 very different movies. One looks like it's gonna be a spy movie. The other looks like it's gonna be a kung fu, like, you know, old, like Marvel does a kung fu movie. The next one looks like a weird, potentially 2001: A Space Odyssey, but not quite 2001: A Space Odyssey, but also like it's gonna be very unique for Marvel. And then we got No Way Home, the end, like the trilogy, the cap off to a trilogy for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And we have no idea what that one's gonna be yet. We just know that we have Doc, we have Electro, both of them probably from their universes, from what we understand, which means maybe Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Maybe. I'm so curious what that movie's gonna be, and I'm curious if the first trailer is even gonna reveal either of those, if they're in it. You know,
they'll probably put them at the very end of the trailer as like teasers to get you hooked, like they did for Mortal Kombat and the Scorpion cameo. It's like
you know
the
what
very
they would
last
do?
bit of the trailer. Yeah.
They might show like a little bit of the Tom Holland standing there, and then like a voice going, "Do you need some help?" And then 2 spider boots.
2 different boots.
Yes, one with the obvious like projected web of the Tobey Maguire, and the other of the dark, like ribbed suit that Andrew had. If that's all they need to do to like sell everyone on the movie, that's the only shot that, like, if that's all it tells us, that those 2 are in it, and that's how they show it. I mean, they don't even have to show those 2 if they're in it in the first trailer. You know that, right? Because if they show Electro and Doc looking like those versions from those movies.
The one that I'm interested in seeing is Doc Ock. I don't think we're going to
Right?
see him the same as we saw him in the movie.
Okay. I would love to see Andrew Molina in the classic Doc orange and green.
I mean, yeah, like I'd love to see him in it again, but I think he's too old to be able to play that role again.
No. He's the perfect age for the orange and green Doc. Like the old, like the classic look of Doc from the comics is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because we got the classic look of Mysterio.
I mean, you're not wrong. We did get a classic looking Mysterio. A modern take of the classic look, but still.
But it's like it's like ripped from the comics. That's how Mysterio looks.
And
Gold little diamonds, purple cape, green scaly looking outfit, dome. Like
projection magic.
Yes, that is. They did it. They made Mysterio in a movie where people would like. Mysterio's not exactly who you would be like. Oh yeah, he'd be perfect for a Spider-Man movie. His outfit's perfect for it. So I would love to see that. All right. And also if like you get Jamie Foxx in like a classic Electro look. With that big old fucking like Electro mask. Even if it, you know what I would do? Even if it's just for the trailer, like it's edited to look like that, and then we get to the movie and they're in their classic uniforms from their movies. Because like Marvel's not above editing the trailer footage to hide things like Thor's eye,
Yeah, no.
extra
I
Infinity
mean, I feel like more
Stones.
companies are going to start doing that too. Like,
I love that.
I mean, I hope so, because too many companies ruin a movie because of their trailers. So,
Terminator Genesis.
Thor Ragnarok. I'm just kidding.
Ragnarok didn't ruin their fucking movie with the trailer.
They literally said everything that was going to happen in the movie in the trailer, other than him missing his eye.
They didn't ruin everything in the movie, though.
It had everything.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Shut up.
Pretty sure if you looked at it again, you'd be like, "Yep, that's every part of the movie."
You had no idea that we were gonna get the the three's graceful exit.
Oh,
The Warriors 3.
I'm not remembering. I'm sorry.
Zachary Levi is one of them, the blonde.
Oh, those three? Yeah, I didn't care about them at all. Pretty sure the only person who cared about them was Thor, and he stopped caring once he met Meek and Quark. Not Quark. Wrong series.
Korg.
Yeah. Then he had new friends, and he didn't need his three best friends. I'd say the one that was most important would be Heimdall. Comes to those people. His death probably had the most value, I guess, when it came to Thor and reactions. And like us as an audience's reactions. Because like who even watched Thor 2? They weren't even important in that movie.
You were hugely important to Thor 2. Fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
I just had to keep going.
I'm done.
Okay. I've got one, maybe two bits of news. One thing, I know you're gonna love this. Boss Baby's getting a sequel. I'm just kidding. I mean, that is true, but we're not gonna watch it.
There's a no. Oh, we're what?
I said we are not going to watch it.
Oh, thank God. I heard we and watched that. I'm like, what? No, Stephen, why? You've already put me through like Despicable Me 3. You don't need to do this. You put me through Angry Birds 2. No more.
I went to Angry Birds 2. I'm surprised you went to Despicable Me 3.
That one was so bad, though.
It was bad. I don't blame you. Oh, also,
You said we were gonna do Minions: Rise of Gru.
speaking of superhero stuff and Marvel stuff, you literally have to wait 2 more weeks and we get another new TV show.
Oh my God, Loki!
Yeah. 2.5 weeks, we get Loki. So look out for that stuff.
I wonder if Bad Batch is still gonna be running during that time too.
Probably, honestly. I mean, Bad Batch only had episode 4 just come out. So
Yeah,
unless
so
it's
probably got like 4 more episodes minimum.
Yeah, I would think 8 total at least.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 because that's what a lot of modern series are doing. But if they do 6, I'm going to be very disappointed.
I doubt it's gonna be 6, especially with Loki going to Wednesdays.
Wednesday.
They couldn't do Thursday, obviously,
Why not, Dev? I couldn't.
because it's Thor's Day.
Ha 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 ha. He has to have his own day.
Anyways, got anything else?
Last thing I want to talk about is, Sony, that big company in the sky. I'm just kidding. That big entertainment company that happens to own PlayStation.
Yep.
They're doubling down apparently on video game to movie adaptations
Oh God, dude, I saw it. Did you see the image?
of Uncharted's new picture with Tom Holland and I'm forgetting
I
his
can
name.
like if you're doing young Drake, I can deal with Tom Holland as him. I think that's an all right pick. But why Marky Mark as Sully? I've complained about this since the casting was chosen, and just seeing that one image, I'm like, bro, no, why?
Yeah, that movie is scheduled to come out February of 2022. But according to this article here on slashfilm.com, and according to the New York Times, Sony has at least 10 other video game adaptations online. Some of those include the HBO series The Last of Us that's coming out.
Yep.
Let's
I
see.
think there's a Twisted Metal.
Yep, Twisted Metal is one. Ghost of
Um,
Tsushima is getting a TV show apparently. Let's see.
Hermie. Sorry.
Yes, sorry. Apparently, let's see. There was speculation about a God of War, but
It's not confirmed.
yeah, that one is New York Times has said no on that one. Let's see. Because of Witcher's success on Netflix, there's also talks of another Assassin's Creed movie, another Resident Evil movie, Splinter Cell movie, and making a Cuphead TV show. Amazon is debating making a Fallout-inspired sci-fi series. Like, there's a lot of people thinking about making things based off of video games right now. So, that's probably going to be our next generation of film, like our next decade. Going to be video game to movie adaptations.
The problem is they're going to have to be good.
Yes.
And I'm sorry. The fact that the last two video game movies we've watched couldn't get past Battleship doesn't bode well, Steven.
You're not wrong. And the best thing, too, is Battleship isn't even a video game. It's a board game.
Right?
But,
it's my video in that list is in brackets. I'm already like trying to place just based off of one image. I know it's not fair to it, but man, I don't know if it's gonna make the top 5, the Uncharted movie. Just seeing that image of, I think like Tomb Raider is going to beat it, which is saying something.
It depends. Do you think they're gonna do a young Tomb Raider or old?
They already did. We already saw Young Tomb Raider.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, Young Uncharted?
Yes. Sorry.
That's what it's supposed to be.
I mean, either way, yeah. I was thinking of like how they redid the Tomb Raider series on the video games and made her young again. And like, do you think they're gonna?
That's what they did in the movie.
Okay.
That's what they did for the 2018 movie we reviewed.
Oh, that's right. Got that movie existed.
Fair. Which is why we've still debated moving Battleship higher on the list.
But though, speaking of movies that I forgot about, you know how we talked about finishing all the live action Disney movies? Like we were like, yeah, we only got 2 left.
Oh no.
We'll get to those eventually. But I remembered there are 2 other movies that we haven't done that are live action Disney. 101 and 102 Dalmatians.
If we do that, the week after is chosen, isn't it? I thought about this. Literally, there was a shower thought like a week ago where I went, oh, fuck.
Because Cruella. That what made me think about it.
I don't want it, Stephen.
I
don't
know
want
you
it
don't
at all.
want it.
I
love this.
Why are we making movies of villains who shouldn't be sympathetic villains? Like Cruella is not a sympathetic villain. Why are we doing this?
Because she can be sympathetic.
She kills puppies.
She killed leopards in the 80s.
That's what, like, I mean, they're leopards.
I know. He kills Game Theory, I think. Puppies. Was it Game Theory? Film Theory did a video on this stuff recently, too. That's what got me thinking about it as well. Apparently, if you do the math, it is infinitely cheaper to just sell the dogs than to make them into coats. So, there you go. If you're gonna steal Dalmatians, you should steal purebred ones and then sell them to other people. Yeah, that's where all the money's at.
But she's not trying to make the money. She's trying to make the fashion statement.
Yeah. But also make money off of the fashion. I hear you. Yeah, Cruella de Vil, literally the spawn of the devil.
I've literally heard that it's like, it tries to make her sympathetic by doing the girl boss thing.
Hmm.
And I'm like,
you gotta be harsh in a world of men.
Like, I could, like, she's not a girl boss. She's a fucking puppy killer. I don't want to sympathize with the Joker. I don't want to sympathize with Cruella. Okay? Stop trying to do this. I didn't want to sympathize with Maleficent. These aren't characters that are supposed to be sympathized with.
But it's from one person's point of view that they're evil. From another, they're a good person.
I don't care. She's a puppy killer. In the original, she literally was trying to murder multiple people as a dragon, as Maleficent. Joker shot Barbara through the fucking spine. And then took photos of her naked on the ground bleeding. And then forced Gordon on a roller coaster to look at those images. Why are we sympathizing with the Joker?
That's a different Joker.
I'm gonna have my own fucking Joker origin story because they keep trying to make us sympathize with fucking villains. I'm literally turning red in the face because of this. Let's move on and go.
Next movie we're gonna see is gonna be us sympathizing with the Zodiac Killer.
God.
So I got nothing else news related other than next week. So next week's movies, I wanted to watch a movie that popped up on Netflix called Into the Wire, which is Anthony Mackie as a robot
Android
thing. So, you know, but he's in the military. I don't know.
He's an android.
Yeah. So then I was like,
Steven decided to pair it up with things with the mistranslation from Dragon Ball with cyborgs.
Yeah, cyborgs. So we're doing RoboCop the original. We're doing RoboCop the 2014 remake.
Yep. You got that 100% correct. I'm looking at it right there.
Yes. And then Into the Wire on Netflix.
Such a bullshit like string. I hate you.
It works. They're people who are robots, cyborgs, androids, aeroids. That's it.
All right, abridged.
Yeah.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, we're done here. Thanks for being here, everybody. You're awesome. Like, comment, subscribe, review, all that other fun stuff. And we'll see you next week with a very loosely connected line of storytelling. Just like how we started this movie. Or started this month with or no, that was the second week. Never mind. We're out of here. Bye, everyone.
Freeze, citizen. You're under arrest.